Hi everybody, I'm Bonnie Barker with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and today I want to show you how to make the easy Staggered Shell Baby Blanket. This is an easy project. It does require some counting. I believe any confident beginner who knows the basic stitches should be able to accomplish this. And if you're already an intermediate to an advanced crocheter, I think you'll find it a very relaxing project and comes together quite quickly. All right, well, let me go ahead and show you what you're going to need. For this project, I'm going to be using 2 complementary colored cakes of Yarnspirations Caron Cotton Ripple Cakes. I'll give you a view of the colorway of this one and the complementary color here. And let's look at the stats. This is a light or a number 3 weight yarn, or we also refer to this as a DK, which stands for double knitting. Each of these is 100% cotton. Each cake has 491 yards, or 440 meters, 8.5 ounces, 240 grams. I'm also recommending that you have a size H or 8 or 5.00 millimeter crochet hook. And as always, a yarn needle and a pair of sharp scissors will come in very handy. Now we're ready to begin. I'm going to start with a slip knot. And we are going to chain 115 chains. And make sure that you don't chain these too tightly. And let me also mention, while I'm thinking of it, if you want to make this blanket wider, you can add multiples of 14 to it. If you want to make it smaller, you can subtract multiples of 14 from this original starting chain. Okay, now we're ready to begin row 1, and we're going to start in the 3rd chain, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work 3 double crochets in that first chain space, or the first chain space that we're working in. Okay, after we do that, we're going to skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in the next chain space we're going to work a single crochet. And for those of you who are concerned about where to work in the chain, I am just working along the side of one of the V's. If you look at the chain, you can see a series of V's there. I know some of you may want to work in the back bump. If you would like to do that, that's fine, but we are going to work a perimeter round to finish this blanket, and we will be working in the remaining 2 strands that you see here. So everything is going to be covered up, just to let you know. Okay, so after we work that first single crochet, we're going to work 6 more of these. So for a total of 7 single crochets, that'd be 1 in each of these 7 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And just to let you know, the starting rows are always probably amongst the most challenging, but once we get through that, you should be fine on this project once you understand the repeat. Now we're going to skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in that next chain we are going to work 7 double crochets. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's a lot. Let's just verify that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's correct, 7. Now we're going to skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in the next stitch we're going to work a single crochet, and we're going to do that in this chain and in the next 6, so a total of 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 1 more, 7. So let's stop and take a look at what we have so far. Okay, now this is the edging, of course. That's why we didn't work 7 here. This is like half of a shell here. But now we're going to repeat this. We're going to skip 3. I'm going to start over here. Skip 3 stitches. Crochet 7 double crochets in that next chain or stitch. And then skip 3 more chains. And then 1 single crochet in the next 7 stitches. And let me go ahead and do that with you one more time, so there's no question about what we're doing on the first row. Skip the next 3 stitches, and we're going to work 7 double crochets in that next stitch. It's 5, 6, and 7. Skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 7 chains or 7 stitches. And if you find that the cotton is just a little on the stiffer side, that is just the nature of working with this particular fiber. As you can see, I'm having to pull a little bit harder to get this through, but I think it's going to be a lovely fabric for a baby blanket. So let's take a look at what you should be repeating. So go ahead and repeat that all the way across the row, and I'll show you how the row ends. So this is what you should have after working this all the way across the row. I have 4 chains left, so what we're going to do is skip the next 3 chains, and we're going to work only 4 double crochets in that last chain, because it's really just half of a shell. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's go ahead and finish out that stitch properly. Okay, and so this is what you should have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full shells, and you should have a half shell at the beginning and at the end of this row. So now we are going to turn. We're still maintaining with the solid color, and we're going to chain 1. We're going to single crochet in that first stitch and in each stitch all the way across. So just working single crochets in each stitch. So I've worked across all the stitches. Now we're also going to work a single crochet in the top of the turning chain. I'm going to work under both of the loops, just like that. You can just do one if you want. And I'm going to pull up a loop as if to do a single crochet. But before pulling the yarn through, I'm going to go ahead and change to my contrasting color and pull that contrasting color through just like that. Do not cut this yarn as you do this. Leave this attached, because I'm going to show you how you can continue using by just carrying the yarn along in a bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give that a chain now. We're going to turn, and we're just going to continue. We're going to work row number 3. We're going to single crochet in the first 4 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to skip 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th we're going to work, you guessed it, 7 double crochets. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to skip 3 more stitches, 1, 2, 3, and starting in the next stitch, we're going to work 1 single crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. And this is 6 and 7. Let's just verify. There is going to be a lot of counting in this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think once you get the rhythm of this, you'll you'll go through it no problem. Okay, so now we're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work 7 double crochets in that next space. That's 4, 5, 6, and 7. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and again 1 single crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. And then 5, 6, and one more, 7. Let's pause so I can show you what this looks like. So that is going to be your repeat all the way across the row. So go ahead and do that, and I will show you how the row ends. As we come to the end of the row, again, we're going to skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, and we're going to single crochet in the last 4 stitches. 2, 3, and 4. Do not work in the turning chain in this particular case. Okay, now we're going to turn, and we are going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in each stitch all the way across, just like we did at row 2. So row 4 is pretty much the same as row number 2. Now that we've come to the end of row 4, we have 1 stitch left, and let me show you how to do this, because we are going to finish this last single crochet. We're not working in the turning chain at all. We're just going to work in that last single crochet, and we're going to make the stitch like this, but instead of pulling that final yarn through, we're going to come down, and we're going to grab, let's go ahead and put this in front, and we're going to take the first color that we were working with, which was our solid color, and pull it through. Let me show you what this looks like. You're going to see a line here in the work. Now, we are also going to be working a perimeter around, which is going to cover that. And what this will do is this will keep you from having to hide 1,000,001 knots. Well, maybe not quite 1,000,001, but it's going to feel like that. So let's go ahead and turn. And we're going to now begin row 5. We're going to chain 3. After that chain 3, we're going to work 3 double crochets in that first stitch. Now we're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to work a single crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. And that's 6, and that's 7, and let's just verify to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. After a while, when you were working these, you will know that you were in the right place without a lot of counting, but I do recommend that you count heavily in the beginning. Okay, so after working those 7 single crochets, we're going to skip the next 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to work 7 double crochets in that next space. It's 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we're going to skip 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then in that next stitch we're going to work a single crochet, and we're going to single crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. Let's stop and take a look at our work. And that is going to be our repeat all the way across the row. Let me do this for you one more time. Skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then double crochet 7 double crochets in the next stitch. and 6 and 7. That's always a good 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure you take a visual look to make sure you're doing this correct, because it's no fun to go back and have to rip out rows once you find that you've miscalculated. Now skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and as we did before, single crochet, 1 single crochet in the next 7 stitches. And again, that is the repeat. So go ahead and repeat that all the way across, and then I will show you the ending of row 5. At the end of row 5, we skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and we work 4 double crochets in that last stitch. Okay, so this is the end of row number 5. So after completing the first 5 rows, what we are going to do is we are going to repeat rows 2, 3, 4, and 5 continually until the blanket reaches the length that we desire. And I will show you, once I complete mine, how many rows that it took for me to get to the desired length for this particular project. Of course, again, you are a free agent. You can make this wider, again, by adding 14 stitches to the original starting chain, or you can make it smaller. You can make it as long as you would like. There is one important thing you need to remember as you go through this. You're going to need to change the yarn every 2 rows. So once you complete a row with the double crochet shells, and then followed by the row with the all single crochets across, then you are going to be switching out the yarn at the end of the row. And I will show that to you. I'm going to work the first repeat of row 2 for you, which starts with a chain 1. And like I said, it's just single crochet in each stitch across. Now, if you don't need additional stitch support, you may just continue on. If you do need some additional stitch support to review rows 2 through 5, look at the bottom of the screen. I will put a time mark there where you can just go back to that spot in the video and rewatch it as many times as you need. But I'm going to go ahead right now and I'm going to finish these single crochets, and I will show you the yarn change one more time. Coming to the end of row number 2 again. We're going to work that last stitch in the top of that turning chain, and we just complete part of the stitch, and we are going to return to the other color, which was attached right back here, and we're going to pull that through. Now when you pull that through, make sure that you don't pull too tightly, so you don't want to pull it real tightly so that it buckles. Just make sure you're relaxed. Okay, so that the strand looks like this. And again, we are going to crochet over this with single crochet with a border perimeter round, and then we will crochet over the single crochets with something else, but I just wanted you to see that. So now I'm going to begin the repeat of row 3, and I'm just going to continue repeating. Again, we just finished row 2. We go rows 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and changing the colors every 2 rows. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to complete most of this blanket and then I'll show you what I have. Now we have completed 90 rows. This is with the back side facing, but I'm still going to give you a view of this because really this is reversible depending on which side you prefer. Let me show you. Now this blanket is measuring approximately 29 inches in length and 28 inches across. Now that we've turned our work with the front side facing, let's go ahead and chain 1, and we are simply going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across the row. So go ahead and work that to the next corner, and then I'll show you what to do after we reach that next corner. Once we reach the corner, we're going to chain 2. We're going to single crochet in that same space as the last single crochet, and we're going to be working across the row ends, And generally speaking, if you are working in the row end of a single crochet, we're going to work 1 single crochet in those ends, and the double crochets or the chain 3s for a double crochet, we're going to work 2 double crochets. So let me go ahead and start on this first double crochet. I'm going to work 2 stitches there, and then 1 in that single crochet row, and then 1 in that single crochet row, and then 1 in that next single crochet row, followed by 2 for the double crochet. So it's going to be really a series of 2 single crochets in the row end, and then 1, then 1, and then 1. So 2 and followed by 1, 1, and 1. I'll go ahead and do just a few of these for you. So this is just probably is the best way to crochet evenly along the edge. And now if you're finding that the stitches are buckling too much, either they're too wide or too tight, feel free to change your hook. But as you can see, this is going to lay nicely, nicely and flat for me. So I'm just going to continue using the same H crochet hook. So go ahead and crochet to the corner. So we end working down the row ends by working 2 single crochets in that last double crochet. We're going to chain 2, we're going to turn, and we're going to be working only in the foundation chain. So let's go ahead and work 1 single crochet in the place where that first where those first stitches were formed, and then working in the chain, we're going to work 3 single crochets over that chain, and then 1 single crochet opposite the single crochets. And if you're not sure where to put your hook, look where that single crochet is, and we're going to insert it and form that stitch over the remaining strands. I'm also crocheting over the loose strand here so that it will be well hidden within my work. And when you get to, well, I'll show you that in just a second. I'm just crocheting over the foundation chain. Now we get to the next chain. We're going to crochet 3 single crochets, just like so. 1 in the space with the shell, and I'm going to go ahead and trim this stitch. I think that's enough. I think that's well hidden. And we get to the next chain. Go ahead and work 3 chains, single crochets over the chain, just like that. And then we get back to working 1 single crochet opposite those single crochets on the foundation row. So go ahead and work this all the way across till you get to the next corner. After working all the way across that foundation row, my last single crochet is in the same chain where you have 3 other double crochets. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and go ahead and crochet a single crochet in that same space as we turn. Now we're going to do the same thing that we did on the other side of the blanket on the row ends, but we're going to have to be very careful that we crochet over all of these yarn color changes, and I'm going to show you just how well this is going to work out. We're going to crochet 2 single crochets just like we did before over the double crochets, and 1 for each of the single crochets. But make sure, like I said, that you're crocheting over the yarn, the color yarn changes here. Okay, so we have 2 over those double crochets, and then 1 over each of the single crochets. Again, being careful to crochet over these loose yarn threads. They're actually not loose. But anyway, go ahead and work that. I'm going to do a little bit more just to show you how I'm doing it. 1, 2, and 3. I just want to pause and show you how well this has hidden those strands. And by doing it this way, you have so many knots and loose threads that you don't have to hide now, because we didn't knot the colors and we're just carried them. And they call these floats. That's the word I was looking for. When you are knitting or crocheting a project, these are called floats. So that's what we're crocheting on top of to make sure that they are well hidden. Well, I'm going to go ahead and crochet to the corner, and then I will show you the final join. As I'm nearing the corner, let me show you one other thing I'm going to do. I am going to be working on top, or working my stitches over the contrasting color, because we're going to get ready to change to that color in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to make my single crochets, 2 for that row end, and then we have 1 here for that single crochet row end. So we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to do a couple things here. We're going to join with a slip stitch, but before we do, we're going to pull this stitch in the color change, and make sure we pull tightly on this. We are done with this color, but I'm gonna let's go ahead. Well, I'm gonna hold on to this. Just leave it the way it is for now. We're going to change hooks. That's what I need to do. We're going to change to that G or 6 or 4.00 millimeter crochet hook. Chain 1, and what you can even do is crochet over this stitch, or well, let's not do that. Let's just go ahead. I'll show you how to hide that with a needle in just a minute. So we're going to work a single crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet in that same space as joining. And we're going to do this all the way around. Skip the next stitch. In the next stitch, single crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet. Skip 1 and repeat this all the way around. So I've come all the way to the corner. Now I have crocheted in that last single crochet before the corner. You may have 1 stitch there, it really doesn't matter. But when you get to the chain 2, make sure that you crochet an eyelet in that space as well. Okay? And then you can skip the next stitch and then just continue on your way. Okay, and just like that, all the way around the entire blanket. And I'm going to join to the single crochet, which was the first stitch of this round, and go ahead and give it a chain and a tug, and we are going to trim, leaving a nice long strand so that I can demonstrate for you how to hide the few strands that there are. Now there is 1 here. That would be our solid color, so let's go ahead and cut that one as well. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to hide these loose threads. And we do that using our yarn needle. Now if you have a darning needle, like a metal needle of this type, it might actually work a little bit better with the cotton, because the cotton can tend to be a little bit on the tight side. So let's go ahead and bring this under these stitches here, and I'm going to run them down into the solid color yarn. Let's go one more. And then run it under here. Now, there are many different ways that you can do this, but the goal is just to hide these stitches as best you can. So let's just go ahead and do that. And
Let's pull back a little bit, and let's go ahead and trim that so that is well hidden. And now I have one more, and I did hide that on the front side. I probably should have hid it on the back side, but it is well hidden nonetheless. Let me do this for you one more time. Okay, and let's hide this one. Let's go down into this stitch here, which is that double crochet, and I'm going to run it under these stitches. Make sure that's pulled tightly there, and a few more here. And then I'm going to run this down into some of these single crochets and run it underneath these, because these are nice and tight stitches and will keep this thread from coming undone. So let's go ahead, and that's quite a number of stitches there, and go ahead and give it a flip, but make sure that you don't trim your stitches. Okay, so we are done. Let me go ahead and I'll show you the final product.
Well, hope you enjoyed making the easy staggered shell baby blanket with me today. If you did, please let me know by commenting in the video description below. I would love to hear from you. God bless. Bye-bye.